Welcome to the first video presentation of VersaText. This is a new online tool that language teachers and students can use to explore the content and language of a single text. Open VersaText by clicking on it at the Versatile website. Click on VersaText Info to go to these 5 tabs. Under each one, you'll find notes, tables, links, and explanations. VersaText has 4 pages. A whole text can be represented in a very customizable word cloud, and the words in the text can be shown in the concordancer in various formats. The words are also classified in a number of ways in the profiler. This is a text. In fact, it is the first part of an article I wrote describing Skell and VersaText. It can be downloaded as a PDF from the first Introduction tab at Info. This text will be used in the examples that follow. Now, let's see what VersaText pages look like. The first is Input, which, as you might guess, is where you paste your text. The second is the word cloud, which is a colourful display of the keywords in the text. And as we'll see, it can be much more. The third is the concordance, where the target word runs down the middle of the page, surrounded by its cotext. This is known as keyword in context. The fourth is profiler. This provides lexical statistics about the composition of the text. Now, let's start with the eternal question we all ask at some point. For many years in my teaching, writing, and teacher training, I had been using a number of online language tools. The first one of interest to VersaText was Concord. This is probably the tool that brought concordancing to many language teachers' attention. It was created by Tim Johns and Mike Scott at Birmingham University. Mike went on to develop Wordsmith Tools, one of the most widely used concordancing programs in the world. Concord had a corpus of 2 million words, which was an excellent sample in its day. Around this time, I started my 8-year stint at the Czech University department where Sketch Engine was being developed. This went on to become another of the most widely used corpus programs in the world. This took concordancing to new levels. I was using Bonito, the forerunner of Sketch Engine, for language discovery tasks with my students, and generating lists of words, grammar patterns, and developing criteria for extracting useful illustrative sentences. Then along came word clouds. When Wordle burst onto the scene, it inspired quite a flurry of teaching activities, to say nothing of t-shirts and coffee cups. The word cloud shows us in a strikingly visual way that the basic meaning of a text is carried or expressed by some words being repeated. We can look at a word cloud and predict what the text is about and why. This was no new discovery. I was writing some discovery music textbooks myself when I came across Range, a program created by Paul Nation at the University of Wellington in New Zealand. I put my text in, and the list of words it generated became the entries in the book's glossary. It knew. Range tells us how much of what vocabulary appears in a particular text. Wordle had a long list of function words which are excluded from the word cloud. Only the non-function words, i.e. the content words, were displayed. Their size depicted their frequency in the text. Concordal, a blend of concordance and Wordle, is another online program that processes a single text. It was created by a Czech physicist working in Norway. Dr. Kolbach created this program in the process of just teaching himself JavaScript. Anyway, we paste in a text to the input field, click on one of the buttons below. The ordered cloud gives the word cloud format shown here. This word cloud does not show keyness and neither does it exclude function words. The beauty of concordal lies not in its word cloud, but in its conc part. Click on a word in the word cloud and it produces a concordance of that word as it appears in the text. Voila! A corpus of one text. Seeing how a word is used in a single text is very different from seeing it in a large sample that represents English in general. The concordance is a record of every use of that word in the text. Looking quickly left and right and left again, we identify the chunks containing that word. And each chunk is a unit of meaning or message unit, all of which contribute to the meaning of the text. We can also identify patterns in the use of words. Complete Lexical Tutor is a suite of online vocabulary tools. This is the work of Tom Cobb at the University of Montreal in Quebec. One of the tools in Vocabulary Profiler, which, as you can see at the bottom here, is the online version of some tools created by Paul Nation and others from the University of Wellington, in collaboration with the vocabulary acquisition researchers from the University of Haifa in Israel. Vocabulary Profiler also provides information about a single text, a table of statistics that expresses the number of words in 4 frequency bands and their relative proportions. The top 1,000 words include almost all of the function words in English and frequently used content words like give, take, time, people, nice. The second 1,000 words are mostly content words which are common in the language but are not used in great numbers in any single text. The percentage here is always quite low. The academic word list was produced by Paul Nation's student at the time, Averell Coxhead. It is a list of 572 word families that are not among the top 2,000 words and are not technical, topic-based, field-specific language. In an academic text, the proportion usually ranges from 12 to 15%. The off-list words are simply those that are not on the other lists, but not so simply. They include the very important proper nouns, such as place names, people, and terms and technical words, and any less frequent words that the author has selected. I was using all of these tools in my regular language teaching and writing. As well, I was introducing them to teachers in the international summer courses in ICT for ELT that I was teaching for Nile in the UK, as well as on dozens of British Council China short intensive courses. The most common reaction from teachers was, "Why didn't someone tell us about this before?" Eventually, I started to wonder what the chances might be of having all of these in one integrated system, under one umbrella, as it were. So, one day in March 2019, when Veet Beza and I were having one of our Indian restaurant lunches, I described my fledgling idea and asked him if he knew any students who might be interested in programming it. Veet was working in the same department at the Faculty of Computer Science that I had many years earlier, and he was largely responsible for developing Skell, the corpus tool that language learners are using everywhere. He said he'd like to develop it himself. This was good. And Veet also came up with the name VersaText, a blend of my publishing name and, well, text. It was to be a clean and simple interface that would process a single text in all the ways its ancestors had inspired. Well, not quite. What I most missed in all of these programs was part of speech tagging. Other linguistic software is able to tag every word in a text with its part of speech in context. Not perfectly, but with ever-improving accuracy. And going hand in hand with part of speech tagging is lemmatizing. A lemma, as shown here on the left, is a group of word forms that have the same head word and part of speech. For example, study, studies, studied, studying. The noun study, studies is a separate lemma. Related words such as student and studious may be counted as members of the same word family, but are not part of the lemma study. Having seen in other corpus tools what can be done with tagged and lemmatized texts and what they reveal, it was obvious that this would be the game changer. The full text of this video presentation is represented in this VersaText word cloud. What makes this word cloud different from the others is that the words are lemmatized. No past forms of verbs, no plural forms of nouns, for example. And the words parts of speech are color-coded, because they can be. So, this is the real ta-da. Thank you. Despite its apparent simplicity, VersaText offers many angles through which to view a text, a sort of kaleidoscope. These word clouds represent one part of speech each, except for the one that contains all of the text's function words. These possibilities beget a raft of learning tasks for students. We will explore these during and after our exploration of the program itself. This is enough exploring for one video. So, now we know where VersaText came from and how it unifies the functions of several tools that provide various views on single texts, and what functions it inherited from its noble forebears. And then, to spice it all up, tags the words according to their part of speech and lemmatizes them. Here's the website, and there's a Facebook group called VersaText. The next video describes using VersaText for language discovery tasks, for learning language from language, for learning content through language, and language through content.